The Xbox Series S is a mistake. In 2022, Microsoft and Sony revealed their long-awaited next-generation console to the world, the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5. We live in the generation where digital games became more and more popular than ever, to the point digital games is dominating physical games by 80%. Because of that, they realized that they can cut the console's prices by only removing the disk drive. But they don't want to risk betraying their loyal fans by removing it entirely and made a bad image of the console from the very start. So they decided to make the digital version of the console instead of removing it. So both Sony and Microsoft made two versions of the console. Sony revealed that their PS5's digital version is $100 cheaper than the disc version. Microsoft also reveals the Xbox Series S and serves as the digital version of the Series X. And the console retails at $299 at launch, which is $100 cheaper than the PS5's digital version and $200 cheaper than the Series X. People thought that Microsoft is winning just by the price difference and the idea of playing next generation games while not paying too much money, and with Xbox Game Pass it just makes the value of the system looks even greater than what Sony has to offer. But turns out that the Series S is a lot weaker than the Series X. People think it might be slightly weaker like the PS4 compared to the PS4 Pro, but it turns out it is a lot weaker to the point where games runs at 60 FPS on the Series X, the Series S will only run it at 30 FPS with lower fidelity on top of that, which makes the value of the price mean nothing if it's running way worse compared to the Xbox Series X. And even more concerning that cross-gen games on the last generation Xbox One X can run these games at a native 4K resolution while the Series S only manages at 1440p or 1080p. In a business standpoint, it makes sense to make the Xbox Series S. The truth is that the average console gamers all over the world only plays Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex, and other multiplayer games. And those games is where Sony and Microsoft made most of their money. But this causes problem not only for Microsoft but also for developers. Having a next-gen console means being able to play the newest and latest games of the generation. It's part of the marketing of the Xbox Series. Because of the weaker nature of the Xbox Series S, developers need to downscale their games further to optimize it on the Series S. Developers might even have to delay their games because they need extra time to downscale their games to run on the Xbox Series S. And sometimes, they just delay the game entirely on Xbox consoles and release the game only for PS5 and PC. One notable game is Black Myth Wukong. The game only released on the PS5 and PC at launch, solely because of the developers couldn't make the game run smoothly on the Series S. The developers even keep quiet about the release of the Xbox Series versions because I think they themselves not confident enough on releasing it because of how much weaker it is on the Series S. I think they keep quiet so if they think it's impossible to release it on Series S, they can cancel the game on Xbox without making an announcement about the cancellation. The game eventually released on the Xbox consoles a year later. The Series S version have a performance mode at 60 FPS, with a lot of graphical features lowered or missing entirely. The Series S version also have a quality mode that runs at 30 FPS, but still not as the same quality as the Series X. But because the Series X is running the same code as the Series S, the more powerful Series X also suffers because of it. The game on Series X runs at 60 FPS with the visuals are far better than the Series S, but compared to the PS5, the Series X is still missing some graphical features. As a result, the PS5 looks better in comparison, even though spec-wise, the Series X is slightly more powerful than the PS5. Series S makes this generation of Xbox consoles in a weird position, especially the Series X where there's not really a good reason to buy the console in the first place. If you want a decent gaming console for the generation to play new games with good fidelity, it's best to go for the PS5 because not only you'll get new third-party games every year, you'll also get to enjoy some of Sony's exclusives. If you don't really care about the exclusives and just want to play game on your free time, then a gaming PC is the best option because not only you can use it for work, most Xbox games are available on PC, and you can also enjoy Sony's exclusive a year or two after release. The Series S's value is for that average gamer. The average gamer who only plays Call of Duty and Fortnite can get a console for cheaper and still get to experience some of the new current gen games. But now, with the console became more expensive because of the price increase to the point where the Series S itself have the same price as the PS5, there's literally no good reason to buy the console anymore. The Xbox Series S is also somewhat holding back the generation. Third-party developers needs to think of how to downscale their games for the Series S. As a result, games never really reach this generations of consoles' full potential, especially the Series X. But there is one console that is benefited by this situation, and that is the Switch 2. Because of how developers need to make their games downscalable, made it a lot easier for them to release games on the Switch 2. And also, because of how successful the Switch 2 have been, and the rapid decline on Xbox, we might see a future where it is no longer a question between Xbox or PlayStation, but it's between Nintendo or PlayStation. While Xbox focus more on Game Pass and becoming more and more as a publisher. And that's my reasons why the introduction of the Xbox Series S is a mistake.